This is the Bonus Section Podcast, episode number 75. Stop compromising. Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime, and then somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version of yourself trying to break through, but in spite of all your self-development attempts, you just can't seem to find the way up there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Bonus Section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in a better direction, we take all the notes from each episode and we post them for a short period of time over at freethinkingtools.com. That's freethinkingtools.com. Okay? All right, let's get after it. Stop compromising. Gosh, this subject drives me crazy. And I know. You're looking at me saying, yeah, I wish I had, and I hear this all the time, by the way. Where do you get the energy? How are you so productive and all this? I don't know. I can't tell you. I was born like this, I was born moving. I get it. But you don't have to have that sort of drive or that sort of energy to understand these lessons, because for you, it will meet you where your energy level is. It's still the stuff that we share in common. And let me go through it this way, okay? Goals. We all have them. That's part of the human condition, to have a goal and to move towards it so that you can feel accomplished. And if you're not moving towards a goal, then you're probably going to atrophy and eventually die too early, because that's just what we are. I'm trying to remember it's a little tricky definition, but it was Aristotle that mentions in Brian Tracy in his great books, and I think it was Goals. They reference us being teleological, which in essence means we are goal-seeking organisms. So we have to be moving towards something. So what I would argue is set big ones. Don't set little goals. Set really big goals, because they stretch you. See, big goals, they're dreams. And for some reason, you know how this goes. You hear this all over the internet or you read about it. When we're kids, we just dream so big. The dream of becoming the ballerina, on the center stage, in a Russian ballet, right? Or the astronaut who goes off into the sky. And look, we have big dreamers these days, right? Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos racing each other to space. Two kids trying to get there. And some, people want to pull back on those guys. Oh, two little kids trying to get to space. Yes, big goals, crazy goals, things that are changing the way things are done. Those are examples of people that set big goals, because then what happens is it really gets them to be resourceful. And when you're resourceful, you're stretching and you're becoming this biggest version of yourself, right? The next point here is when you look at these big goals and whatever it might be for you, you want to become a professional, anything, you want to start your own business in a certain area, start to understand completely what it takes. See, in my world as a real estate agent coach and a doer of the thing and somebody who grows, you can't be a dabbler. You can't be a hobbyist. When you set a big goal that really means something to you, you have the why. Simon Sinek talks about why all the time. So one, you set the big goal, but why did you set that one? Why does that goal matter to you, right? So when you're looking up there at that goal, why does it matter to you? So it's big. And then once it's a why, then you can become very resourceful and you can really start to understand. And understanding takes what? Research. You know how easy it is to understand something these days? I was just saying in another podcast, my mother and I are always in pursuit of understanding something. Why? I mean, here she is, 80 years old, and all she does is Google. I read this, I read that. I think she's read 2 books this week. I pale in comparison, right? Because we're always trying to understand completely. That the childlike curiosity to completely understand, what does it take? I mean, I do this with my daughter who's an actress. We don't stop looking at the IMDb profile of professional actors. Where do they come from? Where did they start? When was their first break? And how did it work? And here she is, 25, and she's in Hollywood, already signed by a professional agent. Right? Because we just kept saying it wasn't really rocket science. It was just work. You just had to do the work. You had to put yourself in the right spots. You had to make 1,000 submissions when you didn't have an agent. You had to win something, which she did. She won a great role in a play, and she did a great job, and she gets a great comedic write-up from a critic. And then COVID kicks that right out the door. 12 months of nothing. And then as soon as it opens up again, she's out hustling and out working, because that's understanding what it takes to go back to the hustle. Boom, lends a part in a movie. 9.5 minutes on a show with big Hollywood names. That attracts the agent. See? Just understanding completely what it takes just takes you to be somebody who is always researching. And that's the next point. You can't start and stop this stuff. I think a lot of compromising comes from starting and stopping. So I talked about the resourcefulness, which is really starting with it's not just going to Google and researching. Then it's DMing somebody who maybe you're not going to get the star or the person who's already all the way there to answer, but try. You might get their assistant. You might get somebody who knows them. You might just humbly ask for, hey, I know you're busy, but just a quick question. If I started here, would you do that again if it was you? Maybe they answer. Maybe they don't. Maybe another few months go by and you do it again, right? But maybe you go down a tier and you look at somebody who's on the ladder that's climbing up that way too to get what you want. Hockey could be a junior hockey player. You're reaching out to that person before you get to the D1 level, whatever it might be. You're just trying to be resourceful after researching. But the key is, and it's going to be a tricky word for a lot of you, you have to be relentless, meaning stop giving up on whatever it is you're after. That's the game of life, to pick the big goal that means so much to you. It's your why. This is why. This is who I want to be. I can see this thing. So be relentless. And relentless is not, a word that's reserved for the fanatics. I know some of you are going to say, well, you're always so crazy passionate on this. I wish I had your energy. Well, you would if you practice this relentlessness in pursuit of what you want. You would. You would. This podcast at the moment is not even monetized. It's nothing more than a passion to share, to be a person for others. That's a huge goal. To be a person, not just for others, that's not a big goal. To be as a person for as many others as possible before the sand in my hourglass runs out, right? And my life is over. That's a big goal, and I need to be resourceful, and I need to keep expanding all my platforms and just keep going, and I have to be relentless. I'm tired. Sure, if you're looking at this podcast visually, I have a tan. I went away for the first time, in 2 years, really, to just sit still. It was only 4 days, and I sat there, and I relaxed, and I rejuvenated. So I'm human. You're human. Everybody needs that. But then I couldn't wait to get back. I was excited. I was rejuvenated. I have these big goals and I want to get back to work. So here I am in front of the camera, all tanned up and peeling if you look close. So it just happened. That's what relentless is, because it's fun. It's the fun kind of relentless. It's not the pain in the tail kind of relentless where you're bugging people and you're annoying people. That's not it. It's an internal relentlessness to go be resourceful, figure it out, and keep going. Look, I have 5 kids, so I get that experiment all the time. And I have 38 to 39 one-on-one coaching clients all the time. And now getting to be hundreds of Griffin agents across the country. Okay. And then just all my social media platform. I have a lot of people to witness and practice with and, figure things out. And I'm just telling you, so many people just want to quit over nothing. Quit on improving. And again, I get it that the mind is a tricky thing. You'll always hear me on this bonus section say, if you are that exasperated, you need to get somebody professionally just to help you in that triage moment. Psychologically, psychiatrically, if it's Western medicine that you need, if you feel desperate, if you feel there's no way, you're listening to me and you say, I'll never get to that point. That's not my point. My point is to start anywhere, somewhere. Jordan Peterson talks about this. Turn around and look at the room you're sitting in. Pick something up for the next 15 minutes and organize it. It's stunning how little a move you can make and feel so empowered. Believe me. So your relentlessness will begin with the tiniest of moves. Your resourcefulness to use your trash bucket. I know this sounds goofy and patronizing. It's true. In fact, when I want to reset myself, I'm sitting in an office that I had to move around very quickly. My cousin, my bookkeeper, moved into the main room where my studio was, and I have baskets here. So I do it when I can. But the last time I was in here, I put a dent in it. I took a bunch of stuff out. It felt good. I keep moving until I make this whole studio new, zen, and I evolve it. But in the meantime, I'm relentlessly still working on it. I don't compromise. I don't quit. I don't stop. All right, let's get to the bonus section of the bonus section podcast. So setting big goals, understanding completely what they take to achieve, that requires resourcefulness and relentlessness. But really, here's a tricky thing. You have to become aware. This is a big thing for me over the last year. You have to become most aware of your own animal brain that will make you compromise. And even a tougher subject, those people that love you. Let me talk about this for a second. When you have a really big goal and you get a big why attached to it, there's excitement, there's hope. And then you start to research, and that burns a few more calories. And then you are relentlessly researching, and you're being more resourceful by reaching out. You're burning a lot of calories. And guess what the animal brain starts to do? Sounds a warning. Too many calories burnt. This goal's way too big. It's taking too much. We were fine. We were putting food on the table. Everything was working. We're fine. Shut it down. Shut it down. That's the danger of your animal brain. It will get you to compromise to save calories all the time, because all it's trying to do is the bare minimum survival. While you're trying to thrive, it's your own animal brain that's pulling you backwards. Now, throw in the orchestra of the other animal brains that love you, your tribe, the people closest to you, friends, teachers, mentors. You hear it all the time. Oh, honey, you could, you'd be great at this. I wouldn't do that, right? That's their animal brain now affecting yours. And it's like this big trigger of everybody trying to compromise and downgrade. I'm going through it right now. I don't want to get too particular about it, but I'm pushing one of my guys, and he's a super, super good student, and he's on the doorstep of doing something special at the next level. And he's into a whole bunch of other schools that are really good. In fact, they're most people's dream schools. And he's on the doorstep. And I am just trying to protect him from all the other compromising brains that are asking me questions, asking him. And I said, don't you ever give up on this. We will go to the bitter end. If the door shuts at the bitter end, then we'll try something else to get in after you either take a year off or you want to transfer. Don't you ever give up on a big goal. Don't ever compromise. Don't let your animal brain or the animal brains of the people that love you shut this down. Don't you ever stop, because somebody has to go to these schools. Somebody has to be the great achiever at these schools. Somebody comes out of these schools and changes the world. Not that they're all, not great. Not that you even have to go to school to be great. None of that matters. But when you have a human in front of you and you know that goal is something they set, you've got to support them, right? You've got to support them. Don't pull them backwards. Don't let your animal brain shut them down. If you're a teacher, a mentor, a parent, a brother, a sister, you got to get up underneath these people, right? You got to get up underneath them, because some of us are self-motivated, but I'll guarantee you, behind most of the dreamers who did things none of us could ever think about, even if you think they came from a bad family, somebody loved them well enough to not pull them backwards. Don't pull people backwards, and don't let your own animal brain do it. All right, let me re-summarize this. Please stop compromising. Please. So, how do you do that? Number one, you start by setting big goals that matter to you. There's a why inside you. It's a big goal. It seems ridiculous to you now, but set it. 2, understand what it takes to get to that goal. 3, do that by being relentless and resourceful. Do a lot of research relentlessly. Be resourceful reaching out to people. right? Whatever, taking courses, whatever it takes. And lastly, beware of the bonus section of the bonus section podcast. You must be most aware that your own animal brain wants to compromise to save calories, and then all of the other people that love you with their animal brains and want to protect you and your calories, they want to pull you backwards. Not really intentionally. It's just the challenge we all have, okay? I'll summarize it by saying, in life, we always seem to be compromising on what we really want and accepting some sort of a weird plan B. Well, sure, plan B might be a great result in the eyes of many people. It's still a compromise on what we or you really wanted. The toughest part is that it plants the seeds of regret, which tend to grow over time. It's so painful. However, it's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to set a big goal and go relentlessly and resourcefully in the direction of achieving it. However, you must beware of your own animal brain and loved ones and their animal brains that want to slow you down just to save calories. Stop compromising. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get moving towards your goals, right? That's what I mean, towards your big goals, because we take all the notes from each episode and we post them for a short period of time at freethinkingtools.com, and we give you instant access so you can print off the latest podcast notes, sit down in your happy place and think. And it's best to think through your head, down your arm, through a pen or a pencil, onto a yellow legal pad or a journal. Get it out, because you do a lot of amazing editing and you'll find out what's important to you through that simple process. That's why we like you to sit down and take notes, right? We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you would join our mission of becoming people for others and share our content with other people just like you so they get the help that they need. Remember this, though, however, I sign off the same way every time on all my podcasts, but especially my favorite, the bonus section. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So go get to work on yourself, your self-development, and a better plan for your goals. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks for listening.